Desta. I'm one of the beneficiaries of the short course that was innovated by Professor Moi University, Tigalawana. It's a short course on natural dyes, and we've been training dyers and handloom weavers in Kenya on how to use natural dyes to enhance their value on the products that they have been producing. What I'm using here is dyes obtained from a plant called marigold. Marigold is a weed in plantations in Kenya, especially those who cultivate maize. They have a problem with this weed, so we decided to get it so that you can make advantage of it. So getting the plant from either the bark or the flowers, and then cleaning the plant part and cleaning it, washing it, and then drying it. So we come to the extraction process, getting now the colorant from the dye. So after crushing your sample, you sieve it. There are factors that you consider while extracting your dye. One of it is the amount of the dye that you're going to use. You can measure it using a weighing scale. Apart from the amount of the dye, the conditions that you have to take care of during extraction is temperature. Is also mass to liquor ratio. Mass to liquor ratio is the amount of the dye to the water that you use. The more water you use, the less extract you might get. After measuring your extract, for example, you want 200 grams. Here I'm using crucible. I can estimate this to maybe 0.5 grams of this. So when I get 10 of this, I know that I've got 5 grams. To this extract, you add water. If I'm using a ratio of 1 to 10, that means in 1 gram I'm going to put 10 milliliters of water, and if I have 5, that means I'm going to put 50 milliliters. And then I mix. For marigold, we're going to extract it at 60 degrees and for 60 minutes, because at room temperature you won't be able to remove all the dye. If you're going to use aqueous, it goes through the same process. Aqueous will mean using water. After extraction, you go through to the dyeing process. But the method that I'll use here for dyeing is tie and dye. It's called tie and dye because you first tie the fabric. Another method of dyeing is just plain dyeing, where you don't need to tie. This is one technique, samosa. After folding, I'm going to tie these ends. I'll tie here, and then I'll tie in the middle, and then I'll tie at the end. When I dye my fabric, you're going to find that where I have tied will be plain. So this is a technique of tie and dye. Before you dye, the first major step is fabric preparation, pouring the fabric and also bleaching. You find that some fabrics are gray, so you want to remove the natural coloring substance from it. So you bleach, and then also you score to remove other sizes that have been put on the fabric. And after fabric preparation, then you start the process of dyeing. The important aspects during dyeing is the conditions to which you're going to dye your fabric. And this is also according to the dye you're using. For example, for our marigold, we are going to dye it for 45 minutes, and we are going to use also mass to liquor ratio of 1 to 10. With dyeing, there's what we call mordanting techniques. So this is how you dye your fabric. A mordant is a substance that fastens the color onto the fabric. According to the mordant you use, you find that you will not lose the color of the fabric. So pre-mordanting is you add that fastener to the fabric before you dye. Simultaneous, you do all that at the same time. The mordant and the dyeing, and then post-mordanting, you add the fastener or the mordant after you have mordanted. So here we have a clear dye that we've extracted from marigold, and now it is ready to be used for dyeing. And according to the mass to to liquor ratio, and also according to your weight of the fabric, you'll be able to know how much dye to use for a specific fabric. I'll now start the dyeing process. First, I will insert the fabric into the container, and then the dye that I have, since my fabric is big, I'm going to use 600 mils of water. I'll add my dye. And then I'll make sure that it soaks. While dyeing, it's imperative to continuously stir your solution so that to ensure a uniform dyeing process. After dyeing, you wash your fabric to remove excess dyes and you shade dry. We shade dry because one of the conditions that we test for is light in dyeing, and light affects our fabric. So you need to shade dry so that as you're analyzing your results, they are not already affected. This is a product of Marigold, tie and dye, and we used samosa. That's why we have those rings in between, and it was done using simultaneous moldanting. And another product of Marigold is this fabric, and this one we used post-moldanting method to obtain this beautiful color. So I appreciate and I want to thank ACEII for this opportunity.